Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, war, plague, and personal loss, yet his journal reveals a man who remained calm, focused, and centered. How did he do it? How did a man with the weight of an empire on his shoulders manage to stay unshaken while the world around him collapsed? Because he mastered the one skill that almost no one talks about today, the power of not reacting. In a world driven by outrage, instant gratification, and emotional overdrive, this ancient Stoic principle might just be your most powerful weapon. We live in an age of speed and noise, where everyone has an opinion, where every small offense becomes an argument, where people scream instead of speak, where emotions are used like weapons and feelings are confused with facts. In such a world, choosing not to react isn't weakness, it's power. It's the mark of someone who owns themselves. In this video, you're going to discover 7 timeless Stoic strategies to control your emotions, remain calm under pressure, and stop letting external chaos dictate your inner peace. You'll learn how to pause before you speak, how to detach from offense, how to create space between stimulus and response. These are not vague theories. These are practical tools rooted in ancient philosophy and forged in the fires of real human experience. Imagine waking up in the morning and not letting the first message you see control your mood. Imagine being insulted and simply not taking it personally. Imagine feeling anger rise inside you and simply observing it like a passing cloud. This isn't fantasy. This is Stoicism in action, and you're about to learn how to do it. But I want to be clear. This path is not easy. It takes discipline. It takes self-awareness. It takes the courage to look at yourself honestly and admit that your reactions are your responsibility. Not your partner's, not your boss's, not the stranger who cut you off in traffic, yours. The Stoics believed that emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings, it's about not being enslaved by them, to feel deeply but remain unshaken, to care without collapsing, to act without being driven by impulse. Marcus Aurelius didn't have it easy. His reign was filled with tragedy. But through it all, he wrote to himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And so, he found it. Day after day, returning to that inner fortress where no insult, no tragedy, no pain could reach him. That same power lives in you. The only question is, will you claim it? So stay with me, because what you're about to learn can change the way you experience stress, conflict, criticism, and chaos. And stay all the way through to the end, because the final point is the one that changed my life, and it might change yours too. These 7 Stoic strategies have helped warriors, emperors, writers, leaders, and everyday people face life with unshakable composure. And now they're yours. But before we begin, I have a challenge for you. If this message resonates with you, if you're ready to take back control, then drop this phrase in the comments. Stillness is strength. Just 3 words. That's it. It's not just a comment, it's a declaration that you're done being reactive, that you're ready to face the world like a Stoic. Now breathe in, and let's begin. Strategy number 7. Delay the reaction. The space between impulse and action is your freedom. There's a moment, a single invisible space. It exists between what happens to you and how you respond. Most people never even notice it. Someone yells and they yell back. Someone offends and they retaliate. A problem appears and they panic. Life pushes and they push blindly back. They move through life on autopilot, emotionally hijacked by every external stimulus. But the Stoic sees that moment, the gap between impulse and action, and chooses to expand it. In that space lies the very heart of emotional control. It's not about never feeling anger. It's not about pretending you're calm. It's about choosing your response instead of being owned by your reflex. Epictetus said, "When something happens, the only thing in your power is your opinion about it." That's the space we're talking about. The space where opinion is formed, where reaction becomes response, where chaos is filtered through reason. This is not just theory. Imagine this. You're walking through a store and someone bumps into you rudely without apologizing. You feel the surge of irritation, that instant flash in the chest, that tension in your jaw. Most people snap back. They might say something sarcastic. They might mutter under their breath. They might feel disrespected and carry that bitterness for hours. But the Stoic pauses. He notices the emotion rising like a tide. He watches it, names it. This is anger. That's all. And in that second, less than a breath, he regains command of himself. The emotion hasn't vanished, but he's no longer possessed by it. He chooses, and sometimes choosing means doing nothing at all. You see, one of the greatest powers you will ever have in life is this, the power to not respond immediately, to not let your emotions run your mouth, or your hands, or your next move, to simply observe, breathe, and respond from a place of clarity rather than chaos. The modern world celebrates speed, reaction, immediacy, but Stoicism celebrates stillness, deliberation, intentionality. Think of the most emotionally disastrous moments in your life. How many of them were made worse by reacting too quickly? That text you shouldn't have sent, that argument you escalated, that decision you made in anger. In each of those, you surrendered your sovereignty. You became a puppet of your mood. Seneca warned us, the greatest remedy for anger is delay. Not suppression, not denial, just delay. Wait before you speak. Breathe before you act. Walk away before you escalate. In doing so, you create space for reason. And reason, according to the Stoics, is the faculty that separates us from beasts. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. He wrote in his meditations, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is not a quote to admire. It's a tool. The next time you feel overwhelmed, revise your estimate. Challenge the initial perception. Ask yourself, what am I really reacting to here? Is this worthy of my energy, my words, my peace? Delaying your reaction does something miraculous. It reveals the truth. Often, the thing that offended you wasn't personal. The insult wasn't meant the way you took it. The urgency you felt wasn't real. The threat was imagined. But without that pause, that breathing room, you miss all of that. You react as if your emotions are facts, and you suffer the consequences of a false narrative. Let's make it practical. You receive a critical comment. Instead of replying instantly, you close your eyes and breathe. You observe your initial feelings, maybe embarrassment, maybe anger. You sit with them. Then you ask, is there truth in this? Maybe there is. You can grow. Maybe there isn't. You can let it go. Either way, you've acted from clarity, not ego. Or take another example. Your partner says something careless in a heated moment. Instead of reacting defensively, you wait. You listen. You even say, give me a moment. And in that moment, you choose a response that doesn't add fire to the flames. Maybe you still address the issue, but now from strength, not reactivity. Every great leader, warrior, and thinker in history has understood this principle. The Spartans trained not only their bodies, but their emotions. The samurai practiced fudoshin, the immovable mind. And the Stoics cultivated the discipline to remain unmoved by insult, provocation, or fear. Because real strength is not loud, it's not reactive. It doesn't scream to prove itself. Real strength is silent, still, and deliberate. It chooses when and how to act. It isn't triggered, it is sovereign. We live in an era that worships emotional expression, but has forgotten emotional discipline. People think they're authentic when they lash out, that they're brave when they speak without restraint. But authenticity without awareness is just noise. Bravery without discipline is just recklessness. So when you feel the urge to react, pause, not to suppress, but to see, not to deny, but to choose. That single breath, that deliberate pause might save your peace, your reputation, your relationship, or your future. This isn't weakness, this is mastery. The power of not reacting isn't about passivity. It's about preparation. It's about being so deeply rooted in yourself that you don't get pulled into every storm. It's about recognizing that your energy is sacred and not everything deserves a piece of it. The Stoics were warriors of the soul. They didn't retreat from life's challenges. They faced them head-on, with calm, with principle, with reason. And they understood that reactivity is slavery, but reflection is freedom. So from this moment on, when the world tries to provoke you, remember, there is power in the pause, there is wisdom in the wait, and there is strength in not reacting. Strategy number 6, detach from the outcome. Focus on the effort, not the result. Every day, people suffer, not because of what they do, but because of what they expect. They take action, but secretly cling to the outcome. They work hard and tie their peace to whether it works out or not. They speak their truth, but collapse if it's not accepted. They love, but panic if it's not returned. All of this tension, all of this anxiety, all of this emotional chaos, it comes from one thing: trying to control what cannot be controlled. The Stoics were clear. You control your actions, not the results. You control your judgments, not the world. You control your effort, not the outcome. Epictetus said it sharply: make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. That one sentence contains the key to peace. So many people react emotionally to failure, not because failure is painful in itself, but because they were attached to a specific outcome. They expected applause, they expected ease, they expected success, and when life gave them something else, they crumbled. But what if you could do the same work, give the same love, offer the same truth, and remain calm no matter how it's received? That's what detachment is. Not apathy, not carelessness, but freedom. The freedom of the warrior who does his part and accepts the results with dignity. The freedom of the craftsman who pours himself into his creation without begging for recognition. The freedom of the Stoic who acts with clarity and never lets success or failure touch his soul. Imagine going for a job interview and doing your absolute best, but walking out without anxiety. Why? Because you know your effort was honest. Imagine starting a business, not obsessed with how fast it grows, but focused on serving well every single day. Imagine being in a relationship where you love fiercely, but without clinging, without trying to control the other person's reactions. That's emotional freedom. That's what happens when you detach from the outcome. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." Think about that. We suffer because we try to live in a moment that hasn't even happened. We imagine rejection, failure, loss, and we react as if it's already real. We hand over our peace to a future we can't touch. But the Stoic doesn't do this. He stays rooted in the now. He focuses on his next right action. He doesn't play mental games with fortune or chase fantasies of control. He simply shows up, honestly, consistently, fully, and lets go of what isn't his. This mindset transforms your emotional life. Because if you're not tied to the outcome, you can't be destroyed by it. You're no longer on an emotional roller coaster, rising and falling based on results. You become grounded, anchored, centered in your values, not your victories. Let's bring this closer to real life. You prepare a presentation at work. You rehearse, you refine, you give it your all. But during the meeting, something goes wrong. The slides don't load, a colleague interrupts you, someone looks unimpressed. If your peace is tied to perfection, you'll collapse, you'll carry shame. But if your peace is tied to the integrity of your effort, you'll walk out with your head high. Or maybe you open your heart to someone, you're vulnerable, you express your feelings, they don't respond the way you hoped. Most people would shut down. But the Stoic remains whole because his self-worth wasn't placed in someone else's hands. He loved as an act of character, not as a transaction. This is the quiet power of detachment. You still care, you still try, you still give, but you no longer beg the world to give you back what you want. You accept that some things are outside your control and that your dignity lies in how you act, not how things turn out. Seneca reminds us he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. And what do you have? Your intention, your attention, your character, your action. Everything else is borrowed. Everything else belongs to fate. To live without attachment is to act without anxiety. It's to do the work, speak the truth, give your effort, and then release it. Let the result be what it will. If it turns out well, good. If not, that's also fine. You've already won because you were true to yourself. But this is a discipline. It takes training. It means catching yourself when you start clinging to what should happen. It means asking, did I act with integrity? Did I do what was in my control? If the answer is yes, then let it go. Walk away. Rest easy. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing the outcome to validate you, you actually become more powerful. You're no longer operating from desperation. You're centered, calm, intentional. People sense it. Opportunities come, relationships improve. And even when they don't, you're okay, because you're free. Detachment doesn't mean coldness. It means self-possession. It means you belong to yourself. You're no longer a slave to results. You're a master of your own path. This is not something you master once. It's something you practice every day, and every day gives you a chance to practice. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Can you let it go instead of demanding justice? A project doesn't go as planned. Can you learn from it instead of resenting it? A person doesn't respond to your efforts. Can you still move with kindness instead of bitterness? The answer lies in the space between your action and your attachment. Let the first be firm. Let the second dissolve. Because in the end, all you truly own is your character. The world can take your title, your relationships, your comfort. But it can't take your discipline. It can't touch your inner citadel unless you give it permission. So from this day forward, act fully, but detach completely. Give everything, but expect nothing. And remember, your peace is not a prize given by the world. It's a decision made by you. Strategy number 5. Train the inner watcher. Observe before you feel. Most people live in reaction. Something happens and they feel. Someone speaks and they take it personally. A situation unfolds and they assume the worst. They don't live from the inside out. They live from the outside in. Like a ship tossed by waves, their emotions rise and fall with every gust of wind, every shifting tide. But the Stoic does something different. He trains what we can call the inner watcher. What is this watcher? It is that part of you that sees what you feel, without becoming what you feel. It is your awareness before the emotion takes hold. It is the space where observation happens before identification. You are not your anger. You're the one who sees anger arise. You are not your sadness. You are the one who notices sadness move through you. This ability to observe your inner life is perhaps the most underrated power you have as a human being. Animals feel. Humans can observe their feelings, and this difference is everything. Marcus Aurelius knew this. In his meditations, he often writes as if to another version of himself. He says things like, "You have control over your mind. Realize this." Why? Because he understood that the mind is not just a thinking machine, but a mirror that reflects emotion, impulse, memory, belief, and only when you see it clearly can you respond wisely. When you train the inner watcher, you begin to catch yourself before the emotional storm takes over. You feel the first pulse of anger, and instead of reacting, you notice it. You feel the pull of sadness, and instead of drowning in it, you observe it gently. You become the silent witness behind the noise. This practice does not come overnight. It is like sharpening a sword, daily, quietly, with effort. But every time you pause and observe before reacting, you strengthen this inner capacity. The Stoics would say, you are reclaiming your reason, your logos, the divine spark within. Let's make it real. You receive a message that frustrates you. Instead of typing a quick reply, you pause, you watch your breath, you feel the heat in your chest, and then you ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to do? Is it helping me act with virtue or dragging me into impulse? That question, that slight delay, that's the inner watcher at work. Or maybe someone disrespects you publicly. The crowd waits for your comeback. Your pride wants revenge. But your awareness kicks in. Do I need to act? Or is this just my ego flaring? You don't suppress your anger. You don't deny it. You just refuse to let it drive the wheel. The inner watcher is like a firebreak in a forest. When you train it well, it stops the fire of emotion from spreading into destruction. You may still feel the heat, but you don't burn your life down with it. Epictetus taught this with simplicity. It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. And where do judgments form? In the mind, before the emotion, before the reaction. If you can catch the judgment, you can change the experience. Here's the truth. 90% of your emotional suffering comes not from what happened, but from what you told yourself about what happened. Someone ignores your message. Instantly, your mind says, "I'm not important." That thought creates pain. But what if the inner watcher had interrupted that? What if you had paused and said, "Interesting, I feel rejected. Is it true or just a story?" That pause, that question, that space, it saves you over and over again. This is not cold detachment. This is clarity. This is the kind of emotional intelligence that builds warriors, not ones who fight with fists, but who fight to remain free from chaos. Seneca once said, "He who suffers before it is necessary, suffers more than is necessary." How many times have you suffered simply because you did not observe your thoughts before believing them? How often did anxiety win because you didn't question the lie it whispered? The inner watcher trains you to doubt your first reaction, to pause before your belief becomes your identity, to breathe before your fear becomes your prison. Start small. Choose a moment today to watch yourself instead of being yourself. When you feel frustration, say silently, "This is frustration." Or when you feel sadness, say, "This is sadness." Naming the emotion creates space between you and the emotion. That space is where peace lives. It will be hard at first. You'll forget. You'll slip. But every time you remember, you get stronger, not louder, not more dominant, stronger in silence, stronger in sovereignty, stronger in your refusal to be ruled by anything outside your reasoned will. The inner watcher isn't a gift, it's a skill. You train it through practice, through self-reflection, through journaling, through discipline, through stillness. The world wants you to react. It profits from your outrage. It feeds off your instability. But the Stoic watches. The Stoic waits. The Stoic chooses. And that choice, repeated 1,000 times in silence, builds a person who cannot be moved. So let the world scream. Let the insults fly. Let the winds change. You will watch. You will breathe. And you will remain unshaken. Strategy number 4. Lower the temperature. Don't match their chaos. The easiest thing in the world is to mirror the energy you receive. Someone raises their voice. You raise yours. Someone insults. You strike back. Someone panics. And suddenly, you're panicking too. We imitate the emotional state of others without even realizing it. It's automatic, it's primal, and it's dangerous. Because when you reflect the chaos around you, you surrender your inner stability. You let their disorder become your disorder. You let their lack of discipline dictate your behavior. And slowly, without noticing, you become exactly what you despise. The Stoic refuses this game. He doesn't meet fire with fire. He meets fire with calm, with control, with measured silence, because he understands if you let the storm outside enter your soul, you are no longer free. Marcus Aurelius said, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good and bad, and I choose not to be harmed." This wasn't a man ignoring the ugliness of the world. It was a man refusing to become ugly in return. You can't control how others speak to you, but you can control the tone you choose in response. You can't stop someone else from being disrespectful, but you can stop yourself from becoming reactive. And that control, that refusal to mirror chaos, that is strength. Imagine a workplace argument. Someone is yelling, accusing, flustered. The room is tense. Most people would either match the energy or walk out in frustration, but the Stoic stays grounded. He speaks slowly, he breathes, he responds with clarity, not to win, but to stay intact. That kind of presence disarms people, because they can't drag you into their storm if you don't take the bait. Lowering the temperature isn't weakness, it's mastery. It takes more power to stay calm in chaos than to join it. It takes more character to respond with grace than to strike back with ego. The world is full of people trying to prove themselves by being louder, tougher, more aggressive. But the ones you truly remember, the ones who radiate something different, are those who stay calm when others can't. Seneca wrote, "A wise man is content with himself, and the man who is content doesn't need to win arguments. He doesn't need to dominate conversations. He doesn't need to retaliate just to feel strong. His peace is not dependent on others behaving properly. His peace is rooted in his own standard." This is why the Stoic trains daily, not just to think clearly, but to stay cool under pressure. He expects rudeness, he expects difficulty, he expects the unexpected. And because of that, nothing surprises him. Nothing throws him off balance. You don't have to be the loudest. You don't have to be the most intense. You have to be the most consistent. When others lose control, you become the anchor. When others let emotion drive the moment, you become the still point in the storm. Think of relationships. A partner lashes out. A friend betrays your trust. A family member disrespects your boundaries. You feel it. The heat rises. You want to say something sharp. You want to defend yourself. But then you remember, lowering the temperature means you are not their mirror. You are their contrast. This doesn't mean you stay silent forever. It means you choose the right time, the right tone, the right intention. Because when you respond with intention, you maintain your dignity. You don't let someone else write your story. The reactive person is always at the mercy of others. Their peace is fragile, always one insult away from breaking. But the Stoic builds a fortress inside. No storm gets in, no chaos takes root. And here's the truth, most people who attack you are suffering. Their anger is a mask. Their rudeness is a cry for help. Their aggression is a symptom of inner war. If you react, you join them in that war. If you stay grounded, you remind them, consciously or not, that there is another way. So the next time someone tests your calm, practice the pause. Lower your voice. Soften your posture. Breathe through the temptation to prove something. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your calm is your proof. You are not here to be manipulated by every loud voice. You are not here to dance to the rhythm of chaos. You are here to embody something stronger, something rarer, something unshakable. Let the world rise in volume. Let the insults fly. Let the tension boil. You will not match the temperature. You will lower it. And in doing so, you will raise the standard. Because in a world full of reaction, calm is rebellion. Strategy number 3. Master the narrative. Reframe the story before it owns you. What happens to you is only half the battle. The other half, the one that truly determines your emotional state, is the story you tell yourself about what happened. Someone doesn't respond to your message, and you think, they're ignoring me. A plan fails, and you say, I'm a failure. You make a mistake, and your mind whispers, you're not good enough. None of these are facts. They're narratives, instant unconscious interpretations, and they control your emotions more than reality ever could. The Stoics knew this. They didn't try to change the world, they changed their perspective. They didn't beg the universe to be kinder, they trained their minds to be stronger. And the key tool they used was reframing, taking the raw facts and shaping the story consciously, deliberately, wisely. Epictetus said, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. That quote is not poetry, it's instruction. You are not hurt by what happened. You are hurt by what you told yourself it meant. And if you can change that story, you change your state. Let's make this real. Imagine you're walking down the street and a stranger gives you a dirty look. Your mind immediately starts spinning. What's wrong with me? Did I do something? Why are people always rude to me? That story within seconds affects your mood. Your confidence drops. You feel self-conscious. You carry that tension into the rest of your day. Now imagine this instead. You notice the look, and then you pause. You say to yourself, maybe he had a bad morning, maybe he's lost in thought, or maybe it means nothing at all. Same event, new story, zero emotional damage. This is not ignorance, it's wisdom, because you are guarding your mind against false conclusions. Marcus Aurelius practiced this constantly. He would write to himself, you always own the option of having no opinion. In other words, you don't have to assign meaning to everything. You can simply observe an event, note the facts, and move on without emotional entanglement. Reframing isn't lying to yourself. It's choosing the most empowering and accurate interpretation. It's refusing to be a slave to your first emotional reaction, because often the first story is the weakest one, the most fearful one, the most irrational one. Think of a setback. Maybe you didn't get what you wanted. The reactive mind says, this is a sign I'm not good enough. But the Stoic mind says, maybe this is redirection. Maybe I needed this obstacle to grow. Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. That's not a motivational quote, it's a call to arms. A command to reshape your view of hardship, not as punishment, but as preparation. Reframing works in every domain. In relationships, you can choose to see rejection as protection. In business, you can see failure as refinement. In daily life, you can see inconvenience as training. The Stoic is not delusional. He simply refuses to give away his power by choosing the worst possible explanation for everything. Every moment offers you two roads, victimhood or strength. You don't control the trigger, but you control the translation. You don't control the world's input, but you absolutely control your mental output. The world will give you pain, that's guaranteed. But only you can turn that pain into prolonged suffering. And you do that, consciously or not, through the story you tell. So tell a better one. Tell one rooted in virtue, in perspective, in reason. Next time you feel the surge of anger, ask yourself, what story am I telling right now? Next time you feel anxious, ask, What meaning am I assigning to this event? Just that pause, that moment of questioning, can stop the emotional spiral. Your emotions are not the problem. Your interpretation is. The Stoics didn't try to escape emotion. They trained their minds to handle it. And the sharpest tool they had was reframing. This is something you must practice. It won't feel natural at first. Your mind will want to go back to old scripts, but over time, with discipline, you'll notice something powerful. Your mood is no longer controlled by random moments. You start writing your own story, page by page, reaction by reaction. And this, ultimately, is what makes the Stoic invincible. Not because he avoids difficulty, but because he sees it clearly, interprets it wisely, and never lets the world dictate his narrative. So when life pushes you, reframe. When you're misunderstood, reframe. When plans collapse, reframe. Not because you're pretending, but because you are claiming your right to interpret life through the lens of strength, not surrender. You are not what happens to you. You are how you respond. And that begins with the story you choose to tell. Strategy number 2, use voluntary discomfort. Train yourself before life does. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you every day, stay safe, stay still, stay small. It offers you soft chairs, warm routines, predictable days. And slowly, without noticing, you lose your edge. You begin to fear anything that breaks the pattern. You become emotionally fragile. Not because life is hard, but because you've stopped preparing for its inevitable difficulty. The Stoics had a word for this, premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It wasn't pessimism, it was preparation. They believed that the wise man trains himself before life forces him to. And one of their core practices was voluntary discomfort. Doing hard things on purpose, choosing temporary difficulty, not for the sake of suffering, but to build inner strength. Seneca wrote, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? Why would one of the richest men in Rome eat like a beggar and dress in rags? Because he understood that fear comes from unfamiliarity. If you've never been cold or hungry or rejected, then the mere thought of it paralyzes you. But if you've trained in discomfort, nothing surprises you. You become resilient. Voluntary discomfort is emotional armor. When you choose the cold shower, the early morning, the difficult conversation, you are telling your nervous system, I can handle stress. You are expanding your window of tolerance. You are preparing yourself to face hardship without panic. Most people break not because life is cruel, but because they've been too comfortable for too long. They've built a life where every need is met instantly. And when life removes that comfort, even briefly, they collapse. The Stoic refuses this trap. He leans into challenge. He creates discomfort, not to suffer but to stay sharp. Imagine fasting, not for diet, but to remind yourself that hunger won't kill you. Imagine walking instead of driving, not because you have to, but because it's harder. Imagine sitting in silence without your phone, not because you're bored, but because you want to regain control over your attention. These aren't heroic acts. They're small, deliberate choices. But each one trains your mind to say, I am not controlled by convenience. I am not dependent on ease. And that mindset carries over into everything. You become calmer under pressure, more grounded during conflict, less attached to outcomes. Marcus Aurelius fought wars, buried children, endured illness, and ruled an empire during plague. But every day, he returned to his journal and trained his mind. He wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That's not a motivational quote. That's the result of a life built on resilience, on preparation, on embracing discomfort until it had no power over him. Voluntary discomfort is also the fastest way to reveal what you've been avoiding. Try doing something slightly hard every day, and you'll notice where your excuses live. It's too early. It's too cold. I don't feel like it. These aren't truths. They're stories. And the Stoic tests them, cuts through them, moves anyway. You don't need to live like a monk. You don't need to suffer for suffering's sake, but you do need to remember comfort is a tool, not a goal. And if you worship it, it will soften your character. A cold shower won't change your life, but it might remind you that you can face what's unpleasant. Skipping a meal won't make you enlightened, but it might show you how little control hunger has over your mind. Walking instead of driving won't save the world, but it might give you 10 extra minutes to think, to breathe, to reclaim your pace. In a world addicted to convenience, discipline is rebellion. And the smallest act of voluntary hardship, done with awareness, can become a quiet revolution in your character. This is how the Stoics lived, with simplicity, with intentional discomfort. Not because they lacked resources, but because they refused to let those resources own them. So ask yourself, where have I grown too comfortable? Where am I avoiding small, necessary difficulties? And what would happen if I chose to lean in just a little, not to punish yourself, not to prove anything, but to remember you are stronger than you think. You are more capable than your habits suggest. And you don't need comfort to feel peace. You need courage. Every act of voluntary discomfort is a reminder. I train now so I don't break later. Let the world seek luxury. You seek readiness. Strategy. Number 1. Accept everything, expect nothing. Align with reality, not illusion. Suffering doesn't begin with pain. It begins with resistance. Something happens and we say, this shouldn't be happening. A person behaves a certain way and we think they should be different. No, plans change and we protest inside, why me? These are not reactions to life. They are reactions to our refusal to accept life as it is. The Stoic does not fight reality. He aligns with it. He doesn't waste his energy wishing the moment were different. He sees clearly, accepts fully, and acts wisely, not with passive resignation, but with active clarity. To accept everything is not to agree with everything. It is to recognize that the moment in front of you is already here. It has already happened. The weather is already stormy. The person has already insulted you. The plan has already failed. The door has already closed, and your protest changes nothing except your peace. Epictetus said, do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy. At first, this sounds impossible, even weak. But look closer. He's not telling you to give up. He's telling you to stop wasting your will on what is already outside of it. Acceptance is the foundation of power. When you stop fighting what is, you gain all your energy back. And with that energy, you can respond instead of react. You can choose action over complaint, presence over fantasy, peace over chaos. But there's another part to this principle. Expect nothing. That sounds harsh, but it's actually liberating. When you expect nothing, you are free from disappointment. You do good, not because it guarantees a reward, but because it is good. You love, not because it will be returned, but because it is right. You work, not because it assures success, but because effort is within your power. Expectation is a hidden form of attachment. It says, I'll do this, but only if I get what I want. And when you don't, bitterness takes root. You feel cheated, angry, lost. But the Stoic expects nothing, and because of that, he is ready for anything. Imagine living this way. You wake up not demanding that the day go your way, but prepared to meet it as it is. You walk into conversations not needing people to behave a certain way, but ready to stay rooted in your values regardless. You make plans, but hold them lightly. You move with intention, but release the outcome. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you unbreakable. When you accept everything, you are grounded in reality. When you expect nothing, you are immune to manipulation. These two together form the emotional core of the Stoic life. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire during war, betrayal, and plague. Yet he wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." He understood that everything is temporary, the praise, the pain, the people, the positions. And because he expected nothing, he appreciated everything. Most people suffer because they expect life to be fair, people to be consistent, plans to always work out. And when they don't, they fall apart. But the Stoic builds his foundation on the truth. Life is unpredictable, people are flawed, control is limited, and that truth doesn't weaken him, it strengthens him. When you live with full acceptance and zero expectation, you become emotionally agile. If something good happens, you're grateful. If something bad happens, you're prepared. You don't rely on the world to give you stability. You bring your own. This mindset turns every moment into training. Every event becomes neutral until you assign it meaning. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes patience. Every change becomes growth. So today, try this. Whatever happens, say to yourself, this is part of it. Not as a way to suppress, but as a way to engage reality fully. And when you catch yourself expecting something, recognition, praise, fairness, smile and let it go. You are not here to collect outcomes. You are here to live with excellence. Let others chase rewards. Let them demand attention. You walk quietly, accept deeply, expect nothing, and remain unshaken. This is the way of the Stoic, and this is your power. So now you've heard it. 7 Stoic strategies, not theories, not ideas, but practices, living tools, weapons for the soul, designed to help you walk through this chaotic world without losing yourself. Not by escaping emotion, but by mastering it. Not by pretending the world is fair, but by becoming strong enough to stand regardless of how the world treats you. You started this journey with a question: how do I stop reacting? How do I stop letting every little comment, every unexpected problem, every change in plan disturb my peace? And now you have your answer. You delay the reaction. You create space between what happens and what you do. You stop letting every impulse become a decision. You let the moment breathe, and in that breath you reclaim your power. You detach from the outcome. You do your work and let go of what's not yours to control. You pour yourself into the process, into the virtue of the action, not into the fragile hope of results. You train the inner watcher. You observe before you feel. You watch your mind like a wise guardian watches a fire, not with panic, but with awareness. Because you know that just seeing the flame can keep it from becoming a blaze. You lower the temperature, you stop mirroring chaos, you let others scream, rage, spiral, and you choose calm. You choose stillness, because you know that real strength is quiet, unshaken, still. You master the narrative. You take back control of the story playing in your mind. You don't just accept the first explanation your fear offers. You question it, reframe it, rewrite it. Because the story you tell is the life you live. You practice voluntary discomfort. You step into challenge. You invite struggle, not to suffer, but to become resilient, to remember that you are capable. You don't wait for the world to harden you. You train before life forces you to. And finally, you accept everything. You expect nothing. You stop clinging to illusions. You stop demanding that life go your way. You align with reality, not fantasy. And in doing so, you stop being a victim of life and become a participant in it. This is not an easy life, but it is a strong one, a clear one, a powerful one. The world wants you reactive, because reactive people are predictable. They can be controlled. They can be sold to, manipulated, offended, divided. But the Stoic becomes a threat, not to others, but to the systems that feed on emotional chaos. Because when you stop reacting, you stop being predictable. When you stop reacting, you stop needing the world to treat you a certain way. When you stop reacting, you reclaim your sovereignty. Imagine waking up tomorrow and choosing your emotional state, not waiting for life to be perfect, not waiting for others to behave, but choosing to meet the day with composure, with focus, with presence. Imagine someone insults you and you simply don't accept it. Not because you're cold, but because you know it doesn't define you. Imagine a crisis appears and you breathe first. You assess, you act, not from panic, but from principle. This is the life the Stoics pointed toward. Not a life without challenge, but a life with fewer chains. Because that's what reactions are. Chains. Chains that link your peace to external approval. Chains that link your worth to outcomes. Chains that link your clarity to the behavior of people who barely know you. And every time you pause, every time you reframe, every time you choose stillness instead of outrage, you break a link until one day you stand in the world as a free person. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You began to walk with intention, with discipline, with vision, and you discovered something most people never will, that freedom isn't pleasure or comfort or luxury. Real freedom is self-mastery. You may still feel anger, but it no longer owns you. You may still feel fear, but it no longer drives you. You may still feel pain, but it no longer defines you. Because you've built something stronger than pleasure, stronger than praise, stronger than security. You've built character, and that is the Stoic's path. So what now? Now you practice, not someday, not when things are easier. Now, you take the first breath before you respond. You rewrite the next story your fear offers. You get up earlier. You endure something small and uncomfortable. You accept what happens. You expect nothing. And you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Because Stoicism is not about knowledge. It's about action, repetition, refinement, transformation, and you will fall. You will react, you will forget, you will lose your temper, and that's okay, because each failure is a lesson, each misstep is a teacher, and each return to discipline is a victory. You are not here to be perfect, you are here to be present, to be prepared, to be principled, and most of all, to be free, not in body, not in circumstance, but in mind. That's what Marcus Aurelius found while ruling an empire in collapse. That's what Epictetus found as a slave. That's what Seneca practiced while walking the halls of Roman power. And that is what you can find here, now, in the life you already have. No matter your job, no matter your age, no matter your history, emotional freedom is available to you, not because life will make it easy, but because you will make yourself ready. So remember the phrase we started with, the phrase I asked you to write in the comments if this spoke to you. Stillness is strength. Let that become your anchor, your mantra, your reminder. In a world screaming for attention, demanding outrage, feeding division, you will walk a different path. You will be still, you will be strong, you will be stoic, and the world will not know what to do with someone who cannot be shaken. This is Diary Stoic, and if this message resonated with you, don't just watch, live it, speak less, observe more, act with virtue, and above all, do not react. Choose, always choose.